What's up, Snap fans? We are going to be blazing through some more content today. Going to be trying to climb the ladder a little bit here in the January season, and we have got a nice little featured location to play around with today. So that's going to be our goal, is just trying to climb and get into as many cubes as possible in the next hour or so of gameplay and see where we can go. I've had some hits, I've had some misses, but I think overall this is a pretty fun one. This time around we're going to be playing with the featured location Altar of Death, which means that if you play a card there similar to the other death location, it will get destroyed, but you also get the added benefit of +2 energy per turn. Now, I think we can play around with a few options here, but first and foremost I'm going to be utilizing this composition in terms of my featured aspect. The deck is going to be utilizing a bit of a death package with Hood, Bucky Barnes, as well as Carnage and Sabretooth, all kind of fueling death to have a reduced cost, which we can exploit a little bit later on. So Hood will be essentially giving us 2 cards to play into the altar potentially. Bucky Barnes gives us a card that actually sticks to the altar, unlike many others. And then Carnage gives us an activator in case we happen to have a normal game, or for some reason we aren't able to get those cards down where we want them to. Sabretooth is particularly interesting. This card is extremely powerful if you can get your hands on the location and keep on playing into it, because every time he's destroyed, he returns to your hand for 0 cost. Essentially, he's free mana after that moment. You have to play the initial 3, but it's well worth it to get potentially 6 or 8 mana throughout the game. Definitely high value. And then, of course, continuing to reduce the cost of death, which will come into play once we get to the last few turns. Now, you're going to see a bit of a contradiction here. You got the death package, you got the destruction package. Hood is not necessarily a destroy card per se, but he's negative to cost or damage output, and so we want to probably take him off the board one way or another. We can still play with him, but it's not as ideal. Anywho, we're also seeing, basically 3 different styles really clashing together here. We have Hood, Barnes, Carnage, Sabretooth, and Death. That's your kind of standard death package. That's half the deck. But the other half is 2 different ideas, maybe even 3. We've got Armor and Professor X here. What I consider these are kind of counter meta cards. We expect there's going to be a lot of these death packages out. I've seen even some stuff like the Deadpool coming through, and we want to try to prevent too many shenanigans if we don't have the right package. So basically, if we have any death cards, we're going to be playing those death cards into the altar or into a good position, and then we're going to be armoring up, or better yet, Professor Xing up. My initial idea with this deck was the goal in an ideal situation is just Bucky Barnes on turn 2, giving us +2 mana to take us right to Professor X on turn 3. So that means that you have 1 guaranteed lane on turn 3 between just 2 cards, and then from there you can go into a little bit of damage plus Iron Man plus Onslaught, which without Enchantress or other random factors coming into play, maybe like a Hobgoblin could throw you off a little bit. But in general, I would have to say that these 2 cards together, plus any extra damage, will win just about any lane situation, no matter what your opponent is playing. They're just too strong. Obviously, there's exceptions. There's weird Wong things with Black Panther. I've seen some Red Skull action that's able to tip the scales just a bit, but it just depends on what cards you get. That's the second idea, and the third idea with the Iron Man Onslaught. The fourth one is, since we're running Death anyways, we like the idea of running Wave, Moon Girl, and She-Hulk. I'm not entirely sold on this being the optimal composition for this location, but I think it adds a lot of potential value with the aspect of Moon Girl on turn 4, doubling up either She-Hulk, Death, or ideally both, and then when you wave on turn 5, then you have a discounted Death, or if you just completely pass turn, you're going to have some discounted She-Hulk. So I've a number of times done She-Hulk plus Iron Man turn 6 after not playing anything on turn 5. You get all the information without any of the hard commitment, because either one of these could be, you just throw it out there and it's okay, now I've committed to that lane. But if you know exactly where you want to be, it can work out, especially if you have Professor X already guaranteeing one of the 2 lanes. There's some stuff like Leader and stuff that can be a pain in the neck, and like I said, these guys can stumble over each other a bit with armor, preventing some of these things if we're not being intelligent about what we want to do, but I'm relatively confident we can get some wins with this one and make some other people frustrated. We'll have to see. So yeah, 83.8 I think was the ranking that we were looking at, and right off the bat we're looking at the Altar of Death, which will most likely be causing our death to reduce in cost quite a bit. We're also going to be drawing some rocks, which will be something that we can just kind of throw in there as well. Yeah, so at this point there's no real reason to block it off. We just want to go ahead and start chewing through the altar and getting the extra mana available. Domino, so he's going to be most likely playing the Zabu deck, running 4 mana cost cards. That's where you usually see it, and boom, right off the bat we're going to be seeing Sabretooth. So unless he blocks it off with like an armor type card, oh, we're going to be very happy here. And we'll go ahead and throw armor ourselves down here. Unless we want to save it, the only thing that I'm kind of thinking is She-Hulk Death. They really can't get involved in this position. And basically that means that unless I draw Bucky, I'm not able to do anything there. So maybe we do hold on to the armor. It's a bit of a waste of mana, but we have a lot of mana to play around with here with Sabretooth. So he's going to go ahead and play here with the Brood, making it so that it's going to be very difficult for me to take that area if he just runs into the 3 mana drops. We have a lot going for us here in terms of the mana side of things. We can play an Onslaught here if we want to. And I think we do, just because we are coming up on the last few turns of the game. Still haven't decided exactly what we're doing with some of the stuff, but right now Rock is going down, giving him some mana, and yeah, he's just playing this full 3 mana cost kit, so he's going to be going with a Silver Surfer, etc. So we're not going to be able to play Altar of Death this time around. We have a few options for what we can play. If we play Wave, then we should be putting down Sabretooth at the same time, because effectively that will make it so that She-Hulk costs, well, with our bonus mana, she costs nothing, which is awesome, and same thing with Death. So yeah, I think there's no reason not to make that play happen. The only question is, do we play anything else? And again, that would up the mana cost of She-Hulk. So let's go ahead and just snap this one up, and we'll have to see what this guy ends up doing. What he's going to be most likely doing is using this for the Surfer lane, maybe even with a Wong or something like that, and he's going to be using this as the lane that gets boosted up for the most part. There are plenty of exceptions to this, but that's like generally how it goes. Onslaught's going to get his ongoing effect stolen, and he's going to actually Juggernaut away a couple of my cards. They still get to play though, they don't get destroyed. And we do get to have 7 damage sitting here on the Altar of Death. Because this was really just a setup turn, now we really have all the options in play. We can go into Iron Man, we can go into Death, She-Hulk, we can basically play wherever we want. We just have to factor in that this is 2 3 mana cost cards, this is 1 3 mana cost card. We also have to factor in that this is going to get plus 6 damage from Silver Surfer, putting him at 10. All that being considered, I think I want to go with something like this. I feel pretty confident that that's going to be an even spread, even though this is, 3. These are 2 3 mana cost cards. I still have the plus 7 here. It should be alright. Let's see what happens. He's just going Silver Surfer? Is there nothing else? He's got to play a little bit more. Maybe Dr. Doom? Yeah, just Silver Surfer. That's a nice and easy win for us. No problem at all. I expected a lot more, honestly, so over anticipating it, but you get 8 cubes for it. You have to overthink of it a little bit, since the alternative is losing those. It's a 1.6 rank swing if I make the wrong call. Not bad at all, though, and that just kind of proves that armor has some value there. I think in that situation in particular, I probably could have just played middle and right, but yeah, I like the flexibility for sure. Yeah, we can just kind of start things off with the Hood here. Yes, it's nice to dump him in the pit, get him destroyed, get that extra mana for free, and not have the -2 sitting down. But I want to do something with my turns. So we'll go ahead and put this here. The nice extra value that it has is that if this is going to show up as the altar, we've already got a card there. So something that sticks to the ground is going to be harder to get rid of. Of course, it doesn't end up being the card we're looking for, but that's not that big of a deal. As for where we want to play stuff, we could play Bucky over here, and then try to set up like a Carnage. We're going to have 4 mana next turn, so we'll go ahead and Sabretooth over on the right. There's no risk at Hollow whatsoever, because it looks like he's wanting to have these guys killed off anyways. We're going to be going first here, so we're going to go ahead and armor on the right to prevent these things from getting killed off. And that basically wins me the right lane as he has 2 really weak cards just chilling there. And then, yeah, we'll go ahead and have Bucky Barnes hang out here as well. So Carnage or Venom, probably Carnage, is going to be going down right now. Deathlock is a possibility as well, but it's just going to be sitting and chilling. So this is basically a free 2 cubes. Most of the time you're not going to recover from this situation. Obviously there is the drawback that we do not have the ability to play Death for really cheap, but even just as is, it's feeling like a pretty good option just to wave Death. Alternatively, we can Moon Girl, but I don't really see what that accomplishes other than 1 extra damage. So we'll go ahead and wave in middle to kind of spread the damage out here. He's going to mix it up too in Oscorp. Just 1 damage though, so yeah, not really seeing too much heat, and it's actually going to be, it looks like Carnage our best bet, as that is going to be swinging this up quite a bit. We're going to gain, looks like 7 from these guys, and then Carnage himself is going to be at 6 attack. So yeah, that's going to be 13 instead of Death 12, and I like that better. So we'll go ahead and go with this route. I'm playing first once more, and I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. He's probably going to retreat, at least that's what I would have done in his position, but you know, we'll see what happens. He's going to have a Killmonger in his deck. He's playing Nova Deadpool, like there's no reason for him not to run Killmonger. But like I said, he plays after me, and it doesn't really impact my turn at all. So I think this one's just clean. He can play it. He can get +3 over here. I mean, technically speaking, if he's able to Killmonger and then add enough damage over on the right, like that's not too bad. I did wave as well, so he can only play 1 card, and that's why I don't really need to be as concerned about that. Because I'm winning in effectively 3 lanes with this play, he can only take 1 back, unless it's a very specific card. So he goes with the right. That's a guaranteed loss because he's losing on mid and left. I guess I was at -1 here before the play, but you know, that's not going to stay that way. Oh well, 4 cubes, we'll take it, and we're already off to the races. I don't expect the rest of these games to go like this, but it's nice to get a nice little boost right at the beginning. Altar comes out again. This will basically just, by playing this, we're going to be able to start Sabertoothing right off the bat. There's nothing wrong with that. No problem at all. Free mana is going to be nice to benefit from throughout the rest of this game. And, you know, we're setting up like a Moon Girl, Iron Man. So yeah, it should be pretty good. I don't see any reason not to snap in this position. If he armors it, then it's kind of bad, but I think that I've only seen a handful of decks actually running that, and not like as a turn 2 drop on the altar. Yeah, it's much more common to see something like this. But I would say Sabertooth might even be a better play than Winter Soldier, just because of how many times you can continue to utilize that altar and get the free pile up here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and Moon Girl this one. I do think that there's a chance we could even play 2 Iron Mans in this, and we're gonna still have another card draw coming out. So yeah, actually, no wait, we won't actually have another card draw coming out. So Sabertooth is gonna come back to our hand, and Moon Girl is gonna double up the front 3. He's gonna get a copy of Iron Man. Let's see if he wants to actually utilize it, but I've got the mana to really take advantage of all these cards. So we're full. We're not drawing anything, which can definitely be considered a weak point. What we can do is kill off Sabertooth, and I was considering armor plus Iron Man, but I think we just have enough for Iron Man right now. So we'll go ahead, we'll play out Iron Man along with the Demon. That's 12 damage on mid. He can't really predict. And then Gambit is only going to be able to kill off Moon Girl right now, so no problem there. Potentially setting him up for a death play of his own. I haven't drawn it yet since I kind of blocked one of my own card draws. But now we're in a really good spot. We basically just get to do exactly what we would want. The only real question remaining is, do we want to play Iron Man on right, or do we want to like armor, or like Sabertooth armor? I think we're going to be okay on mana, But this is also coming right back to my hand for free, right? So there's no reason not to do this in this order. And then at this point, we're getting +4 mana, so our turn is next turn we're gonna have 10 mana. If we wave, I don't see that working particularly well. We could also draw like a She-Hulk, which maybe that 3 mana helps us then. So I don't really see too much reason to play any of that right now. We'll go ahead and we'll just snap. We'll just stick with what we have right now. And maybe we get one less wave play or even one less armor play out of the game as a whole by saving the mana, but I don't see too much harm in it. So he probably played Iron Man himself. That was his turn 5. Fortunately, we don't have enough mana for Onslaught Iron Man, but we do have enough for just like Iron Man Sabretooth. Or sorry, Onslaught on middle with the Iron Man. So this is going to be a lot of damage, 13 times 4. And then from here, we just maximize damage on left, I believe. There's possibility he tries to like play Death out here. I guess the other option is to just play the Iron Man instead of the Onslaught, and then that's 1 extra mana to play around with. Yeah, that's but we don't get the +7 damage, right? The +7 damage is super relevant, and we're basically still maxing out this as best high as we can. So yeah, no harm in nothing. And he goes for the middle. We'll see what happens with it. There's nothing that can get... Oh, Black Panther coming out. And Aramzola. So he's going to be getting a good chunk of damage here on both side lanes. 16 damage, and that's going to be the win for him. Nice.
I am Iron Man.
Nah, Dark Dimension makes it hard to predict what's going on. That's where cards like Omega Red, I was kind of thinking of having that full kit in play here, where I could just have like the very strong 4, 5, 6 mana turn. I feel comfortable with how I was playing this game. It just comes down to not having a counterplay measure in place for that. If I happen to play armor on the right, for example, that guy's screwed. But you never know. I have been seeing a good handful of these little... We'll save this. Elysium, we're already going to have a lot of mana to play around with. Sabretooth can come out on turn 2. But yeah, I have been seeing a decent amount of bit of the Shuri type decks. I'm not sure if that's just happenstance or if that actually has something behind it, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and drop the Sabretooth, and then next turn we can play Bucky Carnage on right. Whether or not that's the altar, I think it's still the right play. Strong Guy's going for some discard action, trying to empty his hand out. It also could just work as a 4 mana for like a, a Zabu deck. And we end up getting Miniaturized Lab, so we don't get to destroy the Sabretooth, not like we're doing much with them anyways. We're going to naturally just want to be playing these cards here. So I'm comfortable with this. I think we can even go into Professor X next turn with the 10 damage boost that these guys provide. Strong Guy is 10 damage himself, though. We do have to watch that. Whether he's doing it through discard or just swarm, there's potential for a lot of damage coming from those two, from that card in particular. So right now, if he has... Oh, he already armored it. Okay, I wasn't paying attention to that, but what we can do is still like make use of this lane by playing Iron Man next turn. On the left side, and then most likely Onslaught with him. And that will put us at, what, 40 damage on left, which he's not going to really see coming. The problem, though, is it eats both of these turns. We could play, like, Wave and make it so that we could play 2 cards next turn. He can do the same. It doesn't really change the math on how many cards we get out, other than 1 wave on our side. And I actually think it increases the amount of cards he gets. So, well, depending on how high the cost is. If he's playing a bunch of zero-cost cards, then it's not really going to factor. But he's feeling pretty good, and I gotta say, I don't think I'm above 50% here in terms of chance to win, but I don't think I'm below like 30 either.
I am Iron Man.
So like now we know what we're up against here. 12 damage isn't going to be enough. Now we kind of wish that we had waved. I guess I forgot that I'm running these golem cards, so to speak, like Death and She-Hulk. So I probably should be waving on turn 5, like just to get the potential benefit from them. Because as it is, like this is not a very winning play, right? So we're going to go ahead and retreat. It does end up costing us 4 cubes. Like I said, we have that buffer from the start, but yeah, a little bit of a loss, and that's okay. That basically comes down to him dropping that armor on left lane, him getting the priority he was playing first, and yeah, we go with that. I think the key thing though is just to keep these games rolling. There's so many opportunities for cubes, and you don't want to pass that up. A tournament range is a bad place for the Hood. Usually I wouldn't play Hood into Fog, just because there are some ways that can be very heavily punished, Jotunheim, Sanctum, whatever. Bifrost is fine, but Eternity Range, like that Hood plus this rock will fill up my hand, and or fill up half the location, and I do not have like Carnage or something to break that up right now. Okay. I think we're generally going to be like slightly favored, decent but favored. Death as well. Okay, I think we're going to be a decent bit favored on the altar type of after turn 3. Yeah, why not? I guess it gives him fodder for his destroy deck. But otherwise we're like have already 3 cards placed here from Bifrost, so let's go ahead and play left side. But yeah, as far as I actually kind of lost my train of thought there, but I'm thinking that yeah, when the altar shows up, the featured location does show up. I think my deck is a decent bit favored. I think it's a bit unfavored when not, even though it's got these nice little counter cards. So we're gonna hope that we get first move here in going into turn 4. It looks like we still do. Awesome. So what we can end up doing here is just blocking off Deadpool, and that's going to be filling out our board quite a bit, but we should be still able to kind of take advantage of things. Now he doesn't know, well, he probably has my death card. I have to factor in the cards that I put in my deck. When you're playing getting Weird World on turn 3, that means you've drawn 5 of your own cards, and the rest of the game you're drawing your opponents. And our decks are kind of meshing together, but yeah, we just have to watch out. For example, Professor X next turn could be a bit problematic. If he plays that on my weakest lane, then I definitely have a reason to be concerned. Right now I'm not seeing too many vulnerabilities there, but it really comes down to what he plays this next turn. So he's going to go ahead and go for the Hood Deadpool action. He tries to Venom it up, and it does not work out for him. So already I'm winning this lane. I don't have to do another thing. There's no buff cards between the two of us. You know, I'm at, with the Hood, I guess I am at only +1, and that doesn't feel the most comfortable, but yeah, overall I'm not too concerned. Here, I think it's just going to be Sabretooth and a Bucky over on the left side, and then yeah, he just leaves because he's already guaranteed lost a lane to what is effectively 2 cards. A 1 mana cost and a 2 mana cost. Yeah, so we take that win, keep on moving. Just keep the games rolling. I feel like I was seeing a decent bit of success with this when I was running less destroy cards. We are actually running pretty heavily into it and then kind of countering ourselves in a certain way, which isn't necessarily ideal. Because I don't have Carnage, I'm going to hold on to Bucky. Mana curve is a little bit off because of that, but I'm comfortable, yeah, holding off. We got Mysterio coming out. His clones are pretty good destroy fodder, so I would not be surprised to see that being what he's going with. We're actually seeing Onslaught Citadel, which is really nice if we get Iron Man going. So we're going to go ahead and sync Bucky up with the Hood on Icebox, and we'll have to see if we actually get an opportunity to take advantage of that. But right now, it looks like Hood's gone regardless, and so too is this demon. Sabretooth and Moon Girl. I'm not seeing much this game. Not seeing much value at all. Yeah, we could be blocking something with armor, but frankly, I'm not really sure. I imagine he played left and he's got right for fodder, but he's also got priority, so it doesn't really matter too much. I could go ahead and just play death, let him kill stuff, and make my death cheaper, especially if I get a wave. So we're going to do that. The problem is I'm not going to get a wave because I'm going to have onslaught, death, and armor, and that also reduces my chance of getting Iron Man. So we'll go ahead and just Sabretooth this turn. Not the greatest in terms of like getting good cards down mana-wise this game overall. Yeah, that's a definite play there. I mean, I could just armor it as well, and then it's going to be full. So I'm comfortable with that. But I also don't see myself using these cards anywhere else. I could also let him destroy it and give me a discounted death, but it's going to be cheap. If I play this, it's going to be 2 copies of death, and then it's going to be reduced by 3 cost. It's going to be down to 4 cost each. I guess that's not cheap enough. We'll go ahead and just Professor X here. So he's blocked on the left side. He's definitely played real Mysteria on the right. And we do get Iron Man. We just need 1 damage to actually take advantage of it. I guess I should have prepped that earlier. That's where like I skipped way too many turns. Like I skipped too much damage out here, which is just lame. Yeah, so I'm only up by a tiny bit. I'm not going to get the Metropolis buff. So yeah, I don't see myself winning this game. I'm going to have to pull it back. Unfortunate, but you know, he's going to play something that's worth 3 damage or more, so 2 cubes down the drain.
Escape.
Alright, this is great fodder for Carnage. So we can go ahead and drop the hood here. Yeah, I think this will all work out nicely. If this is Alter, I'm probably still play one of these 2 cards, but it ends up being Bugle, no big deal. Professor X, good to know. It's one of those cards that when you don't see it coming, it's when it's the most dangerous, so pretty cool to have that taken care of. We get to clear our board out, get a 6 damage card for 2 mana. All very nice. We could wave and try to bait out the Professor X, but I think just making sure that we're at least +3 in all lanes is probably a higher priority. So we can go ahead and just play, yeah, on the sides here. So he can only play 1 card for the rest of the game, and he is rocking 5 mana right now. Still going to go with that strat of just avoiding the Professor. Next turn, I'm going to have 5 mana, he's going to have 6. The wave will make sure that there's no tangible difference between our 2 setups. And then I can, either way, I'm probably still going to play like Iron Man Onslaught, or I can save this, but then I don't get the Iron Man Onslaught combo. So, yeah. I'm probably going to play this, and we'll just go ahead and do it on location here. So that's going to be the Professor X on right. You better believe it. Easy. So we'll snap this, he'll retreat, and we'll move on to the next game. Technically, you can like try to snap predict that stuff, and like I would say it's more than likely than not that Professor X is going to go there, which is game winning for me. So I guess technically snap is the right play, but snap is always one of those things where it's like once you've done it, there's no going back. You've committed the snap, you've either lost the cubes or gained them, and you just have to be a little cautious because, yeah, he's got Electro, he's playing any card he wants to at that point, and it can be dangerous. The reason why he played it on right specifically was not only because of the location of all my cards, but because of the, I don't actually remember the name of the location, Lagavulin, Leche, whatever, but yeah, it's got, it throws rocks at you, so with that factored in, hopefully not Wakanda, Dark Dimension's okay, kind of. No, because Sabretooth won't respawn in that situation. I don't know what I'm doing in this one. So what turn can... If I play Professor X on 5, then he'll have enough power just being 1-0 to kind of overcome that. We'll go ahead and Hood here. We don't get the benefit of the Demon, so I guess there's... Yeah, it's so awkward. We're just gonna throw out Moon Girl. With Dark Dimension here, we actually can't discount Death in a meaningful way. This is actually like low-key messing with me in a way I didn't really expect. If we do this, is it okay? It's not great. I really don't like that you don't draw cards when you play Moon Girl, so it's really a hard commit. This is also very dangerous if he ends up playing a card that has any meaning at all, and he does. So we're going to be going ahead and retreating on Snap. We're retreating on 6, which is what we're going into anyways. Kind of a risk-reward situation that I feel was necessary because I've got garbage in my hand, to be honest with you. No wave to make Death playable, no destroy for these guys. And we're seeing why this deck doesn't really work when we don't get the altar. It's great when we get the altar. It's got its own guaranteed multiple instances of destroy. Otherwise, it's kind of just chilling and not ideal at all. So I feel like I kind of want to back down on the destroy side of this deck. I still want to keep some aspects of it, like the Sabretooth feels good, the Death feels good. Bucky and Carnage also, like again, Bucky Professor X is like the initial idea for this deck entirely. But if I took out like Hood and put in Omega, I wouldn't feel bad about that. And I haven't really given this enough thought to like say this is like a big shift forward on non-altered games. I just don't want to feel like if I'm drawing... One thing, I just shouldn't be playing Moon Girl if it's going to fill my hand and I don't have the answers that I need in my hand, because that's already like blocking my ability to play the game. That's a learning thing. That's a piloting thing. But I do think that maybe a slight deck adjustment, moving further away from the Death or the Destroy aspect, is going to be kind of favorable. All right, chips are on the table. We don't know the locations, but we know just about everything else. Death is big. Zero cost Death feels really good. We'll go ahead and snap just to that alone, because that allows me to like Death Professor X something if I want to. If he's playing a destroy deck, I can armor a different lane. Yeah, I like that a lot. Heck, I could even like Omega Red Death Professor X, and then just Iron Man the other lane. There's a lot that I can do there. So this is... you can't play endgame cards here. So by destroying both decks, it's not discarding them. That would be obviously OP for discard decks. But it does give like Null and Death so much power. Yeah, I can't play Iron Man in there is the only thing. And if my game plan is to... yeah, I'm curious what these end up being. We'll just go ahead and start with this. Scorpion does hurt more than usual because of the Iron Man doubling aspect, but yeah, overall it's going to be perfectly fine. So what we can do here is armor Carnage, which is weird, but then we'll, yeah, Omega will on left, we'll Death Professor X on left, and then we'll Iron Man on right. That'll give Omega's +4. Okay, so he can get that potentially multiple times if he plays it right. Meaning it might have been better to play Big House. I could always Death Middle too. I didn't think about that well enough. Yeah, what if we just like Omega Iron Man? No. We're fighting too hard into that. Yeah, because Iron Man, Mjolnir can still be played in middle. I think we've definitely played Omega Red, and it can be on the right. but he's not going to get the buff of Metropolis, but he's going to make it more likely I get that. Unless I just want to cut our losses against Thor and focus on the fact that he guaranteed drawed that. Guaranteed drew. Playing to that. Okay. So he's playing Mjolnir into this position, kind of locking it down. Speaking of locking down, I think this is probably a perfectly fine time to play Professor X. I do have the option of playing Death with it, but I'm too scared of Right to really do that realistically, so. He's only got 3 cards left, none of them are Mjolnir. We'll see what he actually ends up dropping. Leech does hurt, because now I can't play Death. And that means I lose, like straight up. That Leech is really good. I should have, you know, I want the surprise factor of playing this on turn 6, but there is always a risk involved. I don't think I regret holding it, because you literally double the cube value if they don't see this. Keeping cards close to your chest is kind of an important part of really advancing further in the game. You can play everything as soon as you can, and it'll avoid things like, I don't know, if for example the guy gets a card from the raft and it's 0 cost, and then he gets waived and he can't play it for 0. That's obviously going to be considered a misplay that he didn't take advantage of it when he could. But with this whole snap aspect and retreat on 6 aspect, I want to hold that stuff if I can. I don't want to like assume that he's going to be able to prevent that. Alright, we're feeling pretty good about this. We got our 4, 5, 6, and we've got a lot of free mana on top of it. Yeah, it's District X, especially. The fact that we have like these 3 cards as our like first 4 draws when District X deletes the rest of the deck is kind of insane, actually. We didn't even get our turn 2 draw before District X already kind of came into play. I think locations are first. We're gonna have Sabretooth off in terms of mana going back and forth, but yeah, shouldn't change too much. Darkhawk is interesting, because that is an ongoing effect, right? So if I wanted to, I mean, either way, it's Omega Red. And then continuing to build that up. And since we're only playing 1 card per turn, there's no reason to not Okoye here and maybe get it sent to the right. Okoye? I don't know. Yeah, I think that sounds right. Maximus giving us the card draw. That makes Devil Dinosaur a bit more appealing as well. Puts 1 more card in, and I wish I knew the math on this a little bit better. So he's gonna have in his deck, I don't have Rock Slide or anything, but he's gonna have from his deck, if he draws 2 more cards, now he's gonna have 6 cards, so it's gonna be plus 12, it's gonna be 13 damage. Can continue to Sabretooth here. A lot of mana available. And the question is, do we want to Iceman somewhere? Or do we want to save that for Devil Dinosaur's power? We could also do something like Devil Dinosaur and then Doctor Strange it to the left. Makes it a bit stronger to play into the left lane, but this combo with Iron Man and stuff is just too strong. So, yeah, we're not going to be playing Devil Dinosaur this game, or Darkhawk this game. Let's see, we'll have 6, 7, 8, so yeah. Straight up, we're not going to be playing anything else but this. And we'll have to see how it plays out. Now, actually, there's a risk to Iceman, right? Because it actually has a 50-50 of just going right to District X, both of them. And if that's the case, I'm kind of in trouble, because Onslaught is not doing squat. So that was a misplay for sure. Iceman should not be going here. We'll see what ends up happening with it after turn 5. It looks like they're going to both. That's really good. Alright, so that works out nicely. No way we're playing anything other than Iron Man here. Doctor Strange would mess up. I like that animation. Haven't seen too much of that. Flying around. Alright, at this point we can go ahead and play this guy on left, since that's the only place he sticks. Yeah, as much as I want the 3 damage, I'm not going to be putting Onslaught anywhere else. Yes, there's like the aspect of I could just Doctor Strange him over here, And that's kind of cute. Because while it does surrender... No, it surrenders middle. I like this too much. The damage is too high. And we already have a card on right, so we're just going to play into it. So as long as we have the plus 10 advantage, we're going to get plus 8 damage to the 2 side lanes, which means we're going to win Altar of Death. It just comes down to if we actually have enough damage here. Which is quadrupling 14 damage to 56. Yeah, not even close. We almost had plus 30 damage. Yeah, it's just this Omega Red Onslaught Iron Man. We got really lucky drawing it, but plus 8 to all your other lanes and a guaranteed win on one lane. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. You can often, like, I used to play this as, like, my main deck was Omega Red, and I had, like, a Storm variation, which is pretty good. I don't mind what I'm bringing here, though, as long as we see the right cards to make it work. That being said, we do not have anything that would really work for the Raft here. So, double discount on She-Hulk. We almost never get to play She-Hulk on turn 3. So I guess we might as well, unless we plan to just do some Moon Girl stuff, but that kind of relies on cards getting destroyed, which doesn't seem to happen. I think they changed the image on this. Looks a little weird. Anywho, yeah, we basically want to decide if we're going to try to discount or if we're just going to play. And there's not too many disadvantages of just playing. He ends up getting this going. I'd love to have an armor or even a Professor X here. And we get it, and we're going first. So that's pretty nice. We can go ahead and snap off that. I don't even care if I get the Raft. That in of itself is really good for me. It's so kind of counterintuitive, though, to be running Death and also trying to counter Death at all costs. But basically what I want to be doing is destroying versus non-destroy decks. And preventing the destroy deck from playing its own game. That's not going to be enough for me to get exactly what I want, but I could still Iron Man here if he's playing cheap stuff. And that'll give me plus 4 to each lane. The alternative being... well, I don't know. I could wave and then get a Death, but I don't have a 2 drop to really use that mana properly. Let's go ahead and just start with the Omega. That's probably still going to be our follow-through. I guess it is leaving 1 mana on the table where we could just Iron Man it. And he doesn't know that Omega's going to, like, plus 4 everything. So that information actually might be more valuable. And never mind, we're playing Galactus. So Death is going to get discounted by a decent amount here with, looks like 5 cards going down. But not enough for me to play anything else. We just have to hope he's not running Death at null, which I think is probably a little foolhardy. First instinct is just wondering how he got the mana. How does he have 6 mana for this card? Because it's Titan. So we're playing Titan, which enables Galactus. And now, I'm probably wasting cubes with this, but I'm going to click. Leader copies Death, he gets that. Alright, so that was not the best. I basically wasted 2 extra cubes for what should just be an instant retreat. At low levels, Galactus isn't that threatening. He plays Galactus on turn 6, standard stuff. He plays it even on turn 5. He's probably not going to be piggybacking off of that with too much damage. But at high ranks, every single time you're seeing null and or Death. And that's just like too much to deal with directly and easily. Yeah, we're going to Shadowlands with the destroy stuff. Pretty typical synergy there where we're taking out the -2. I don't know why you would ever play Lizard there, but okay. Like, of all the places, you can play Into the Fog, just not where there's literally a card there already. Okay, So if we Moongirl right now, we are going to be copying She-Hulk and Death. We're not going to be drawing a card on turn 5, though, which is the really annoying part. I think Moongirl needs to be removed from this deck. The only time I'm seeing value out of her is if we already have all the pieces we really want, or if we're playing enough cards quickly enough, like a bunch of 1-drops, so that we only have 3 cards, 3 other cards at this time. I basically need to be playing a card on 1, 2, and 3. And we're not playing anything on 1. So that's a sidebar we probably just want to play at this point, but I do feel like, yeah, missed opportunity with this Moongirl stuff. We're going to take her out. Clintar. Yeah, normal precaution here to think a destroy deck is like full destroy with, what's his face? We're just going to go ahead and snap this, I'd say. And whether or not he plays anything the next turn will give us a good idea of how we need to approach the next turn. Now we'll go ahead and do this, see what happens. So I'm thinking we're playing She-Hulk plus the highest damage that we can deal. Okay, if he Odin's this, I'm in a bit of trouble, I would say. Because I didn't draw the Iron Man. If I draw Iron Man here, I'm feeling pretty good about the game. If I had Wave earlier, I could play both these, feeling very happy as well. Instead, we're looking at 4 damage on top of She-Hulk. Which is kind of awkward, because, like, it guarantees the Omega Red if we get enough damage there. Basically, we're playing 1 card right, 1 card left. Do we think he has more than 8 damage? I do. So I'm going to play this and hope that he doesn't. Just this alone should do enough. The other idea is, like, why not just play the Moongirl at that point? Because if we're just playing to the left to guarantee that we keep Omega Red's buff, and Omega Red is worth this much, then just go for this. What's the harm? So, he did play on turn 5, so that's not an Infinite. It's just a Magneto, which is going to be unable to stop our kill. So yeah, Moongirl's out. The question is, what are we putting in its stead? I knew that I was itching to get my last edition in, but I don't have anything kind of in mind for what we're going to replace. We're about 47 minutes in this video, but I did expect this one to be a bit longer because I just plan on ranking up, taking full advantage of this featured day to hit 90, and then maybe even push towards 100. I'm not too sure. But yeah, we want Moongirl out. And I would say something with that plays into the Onslaught stuff. So I could easily see myself going for Punisher, Punisher, Captain America, etc. Punisher is slightly better than, has a slightly higher ceiling than Captain America, but is overall a very similar card. The reason that Punisher can be better is because with Onslaught doubling his effect, he can get +8, whereas Captain America's effect doubled is only +6. That being said, he's by default already bringing 1 more damage. You're guaranteeing that you're playing 4 cards. He might not play 4 cards. It's pretty close either way. Not a big deal. I'm just trying to think of like what we're losing to and what we can really prevent. Claw was kind of a core part of things beforehand, and we are getting the bonus mana to make this work with Sabretooth or with the Altar in general. So I wouldn't mind that either, as basically that being part of my 4-5-6. Works really well for certain situations. So we can go ahead. I'll just show my Omega Red deck from before, I think it was called. I think we actually rewrote it. No, it's right here. Oh, we got the variant. I'll probably slot that in. But Chavez was basically just a way to guarantee that I have a good card to play on 6 and that I'm getting these kind of early pieces in position. I wouldn't mind that either. I could take out Claw, put in Chavez. That provides some consistency that we're kind of lacking right now. I wouldn't, yeah, I think that's pretty good. But I just don't know if I ever see myself playing Chavez directly. I think it's literally there just as an RNG tool to make my first 5 turns stronger, rather than to actually end the game. So that's kind of like an awkward position to be in. And I'm not like a specific combo-oriented piece, but there are a lot of, you know, tools I'm trying to fit together. So I guess I could see that. Go ahead, Onslaught back where he belongs, and then, yeah, we'll switch it up here with, oh, these are ongoing cards only. Makes sense. Yeah. Make a red, popping him out. Where's his guy? All variants, yeah. Not usually a cosmetic guy, but you know, if I have it, I might as well use it. So, it's a little better. It definitely increases the chance of just the Barnes Professor X that I really want to see on Alter. But that assumes the Alter comes out in the first 2 locations anyways. If it comes out on the 3rd, it's just a little bit later than you'd want it to be. Altar of Death is in play. I can armor it and then just start building a fort and hope that this guy's a destroy deck that regrets exactly what he decided to build. I could also just go into Asgard. I actually do like that as well. Don't have a turn 3 play, but I still have the Omega Red on 4. Yeah, maybe we get like a Sabretooth or something like that. We have enough Destroy in our deck that I kind of don't want to just block it off naturally. But yeah, we'll see what this guy has in store. Mystique doubling a ongoing effect is interesting, because right now all she would be doing is doubling armor. This guy's got what, 4 mana? He's playing something with 4 mana. He's feeling cool. I think the only one that I would really consider high value is Mr. Negative. And if I do have to play against that, I'm going to be a bit frustrated. Even if I draw a wave for turn 5, I still don't think like I have the exact tools that I'm looking for. Don't want to call this a retreat when I have my 4, 5, 6 in hand, though. It's just a little awkward. Do we just not play anything and then play She-Hulk? That gives us the card draw that we were talking about. Yeah, Mr. Negative goes out. And now he's going to try to get the Asgard to draw as many of those negative cards as he can. We can go ahead and just play into this and prevent that from happening. And then Omega Red and Onslaught could be played if we think that he has nothing to stick. And he just played his Brood. So unless he's Tigering, his Tiger could definitely... I don't usually actually see White Tiger in the Mr. Negative decks, but it would theoretically like be only 1 damage or 1 mana cost, so I feel like it's a good potential card. But like I said before, I'm just gonna wave because that's the play against this stuff. If I wave in the middle, then that'll guarantee that I have 8 mana and can play 2 cards no matter what they are. If I play Bucky Barnes here, I'm also getting that extra value. So yeah, I'll just snap on that. This is actually really good for me. I'm going first. Wong can be scary, obviously. There's a lot of stuff that he gets to build up, but Wave is such a good way to shut him down. He only played 1 card. Like, he's got 4 cards in hand. He can only play one of them, which is just perfect. We'll see what he ends up playing, but that feels good. Oh no, not Spider-Man. Never seen that before. Yeah, so we've got Death reduced as well. I forgot about her discounts. I think we're still playing only 2 cards. 10 mana? Oh no, we played 2 cards here, so we could play 3 cards. Oh, that's sick. So I think it's like Omega, Onslaught, and then Death can't be played anywhere. Ugh. Okay, the Neighborhood Spider-Man's a little annoying, but this is still like the best play that we can make, right? I guess we still play this here, but it doesn't really do anything. It's just kind of, she's there to look good. Is there a chance that we don't get Omega Red off of this? Let's see. We're adding 12. We're already leading by 6. And he's going to get plus... Well, if he he only play 1 card. So if he just plays Silver Surfer, then we're going to win no matter what, right? Let's just double check. He gets plus 9, so at plus 18. That's 25 damage. We're gonna have 25 damage equal. So let's go ahead and pull this back. We'll just go ahead and play Death Omega Red. And the last card doesn't really matter, but I guess this is armor, but we don't want armor there. Yeah. I don't think there's any value in giving him a potential free armor. So we'll just throw Chavez in the pool and call it good. Yeah, this is going to give us the damage we need for Double Surfer to not screw us over. So Death is definitely better than Onslaught here, even though Onslaught doubles the value of Omega Red. You're not really seeing that if you're not plus 10 anyways. So 25 damage from him, we did the math, we win by 5, we win by 6, and Wave does it again. Again, the entire reason this is possible is because he didn't get to play 4 cards just now. Mr. Negative swaps the cost of the attack and the attack of all these cards, making it so that, for example, Wong is free, Iron Man is free. With this, he has to choose. What is he going to do? He's not going to Iron Man this lane, he's already Spider-Man it. So literally this is all he gets, or White Tiger. White Tiger's not bad, but he was already losing here, so 8 cubes versus a Mr. Negative deck, and it 100% is because I played Wave. I love Wave and Wave Odin, but I don't think Odin can fit here. There's just no reveal cards to really play off of. Like, every reveal is a destroy, and you don't want those playing twice. So, yeah, no, we're just rolling with it, but even if you only get one instance of Wave, if he's unfortunate enough to not play any good cards on turn 4, just to play Spider-Man, then yeah, we're happy. Another Mr. Negative deck. Fast is a clear indicator of that one. We got Rocks, which actually is pretty good because he's going to be focused on drawing cards that he doesn't already have in order to discount them. Where do we want the Bucky? Do we want him on the right side? Yeah, it's okay. It gets the value of, like, we can Carnage and actually... If the altar is here, I actually don't mind playing into Black Widow. Because we can actually throw that down the drain. And it just gives us a free 2 mana. I've seen a couple of people do that, and I'm like, yeah, well, thanks for the gold. But here... Do we just Carnage it? Just to make sure that he doesn't get to counterplay, because we are playing first. I don't think... He's not going to run armor in this deck, though. There's really no reason for him to be running anything that would prevent... Even Cosmo would be pretty bad for him, I think. So, we could just Sabretooth and get the +2 damage. It doesn't mean we're not playing Omega Red outright, but... We're probably drawing Rocks anyways. So I'm down with it. Zabu. So he's going to do like the Spider-Man Moon Girl play here, I would imagine. And that's going to shut us down. So I'm not going to snap, because Spider-Man Moon Girl is toxic. I'm going to play She-Hulk next turn if we can actually play cards. Let's see what we're up against. It's just one card. That's always a good sign. When he just played Zabu and he's only playing one card, it's going to be Mr. Negative. Alright. So... We get Sabretooth, Professor X. I really like that play. And that has us just playing for one lane now. There's no way he like plays a bunch of good stuff on the left in this situation. But now I just get to fully tunnel into right. He could Iron Man it, so I guess I shouldn't fully tunnel, but yeah, taking down the card slots. Now we're gonna see what a Mr. Negative deck does when it can play cards. He's about to play 4 cards, or 3 cards in 3 different spots, and he's going to try to maximize his damage. I could try to like be like, oh, surprise, She-Hulk for 10 damage here, and there's a chance that we get to the end of this and I say, oh wow, it actually could have worked, because he's going to play like a 0 damage card here. But no, actually Bast already gave it 3 damage, so never mind. Double checking, this is still going to be the maximum damage up what we can send, so let's just see what happens. But if he goes like Iron Man Mystique, that puts him at 16. Oh no, Iron Man has 5 damage. I keep on forgetting about that. I don't add that to the math, but we actually win. No, no, no. RG is bad. Alright. The +5 is even more so than the Iron Heart, which again, she's like, you can play her for free, super annoying. In this case, he spent mana on Rock and Iron Heart, rather than Iron Man, which is free. And that's what the whole wave thing that I was talking about, like, I know I've said it like 5 times, but I really mean it. That's the only way to beat Mr. Negative. Unless he just gets the worst possible draws. Oh well. Some good games tonight, though. Definitely at least engaging and interesting. I don't know, the discard deck is effective in its own right, but I feel like I'm kind of just making the same little micro decisions each time and hoping it pans out in a better, cleaner way each time. Because of Titan, we can play She-Hulk. That's a rare option we'll consider. We're just going to avoid left entirely, right? I mean, yeah, maybe there's an advantage playing into getting like a death going or something like that. But this gives us basically a turn 5 to play, and we want to utilize that, so I'll play into Sunspot, and we'll see what happens there. He looks like he's going to pump it up, +3 mana, and that means he might be playing a She-Hulk of his own. Impossible to know. Alright, so we Sabretooth this turn. We could wave, we could Carnage Wave next turn. We could even do it over here. But that makes, when we wave, Sabretooth is back down to back up to 4 cost, so that doesn't really create the incentive that we're looking for. And we're just gonna Iron Man next turn, unless we wave for death. Let's just play Sabretooth here. Just keep it nice and simple. Is there any reason to wave instead of Sabretooth? If he's playing a lot of cards, he might. Let's go ahead. Because he's playing She-Hulk this turn, right? He passed last turn at least, so he got the discount. Yep, there she is. That means wave isn't too threatening. Like, it allows him to play a 6-cost card on turn 5. But he already could do that because of Titan. In fact, like, it's actually cheapest right now. If he had, like, 2 6-cost cards and I wave next turn, nah. So what are we doing? Are we going with the Onslaught Iron Man stuff? Or are we going with Death because it's the only turn we can play her? I don't know. Yeah, this is kind of difficult to call. I think it's still going to be Iron Man Onslaught, but that just means this middle lane is so open. Like, I actually think this is a retreat. Yeah, we'll mess with it. We'll go Onslaught for now. I guess these are the same price, but Onslaught tells him less, so. 0 cost cards, if he has any. Yeah, I don't like this situation per se. It's not terrible just to do this. Depends on really like what he picks up. I'm already +5 here. I'm not gonna snap this or anything, but I think it's worth playing out. He plays right, so he does get some damage that way. From slayed by a Yellow Jacket, of all things. There that goes. And GG.
Iron Man.
I don't know, it feels like my deck is a bit top heavy. I'm wondering, obviously it works when Alter's out, but again, I'm trying to mitigate when Alter's not in play. I don't just want to be completely gimmicked into that and retreating whenever I don't see the location. I feel like a 1-cost card would do me some good. I usually traditionally go Sunspot here. Sunspot, Armor She-Hulk. That's my jam. Hard to beat that. Do we just take out Chavez again? Again, I don't like Chavez. Like, I don't see myself playing her. I'm going to be playing so many other cards. That's not that. So, yeah, we'll go with that. This guy's cool. He's got the sunspots. Yeah, we'll play with it. Again, we are playing into a lot of destroy decks, so it feels a little vulnerable when we could just get Killmongered. Haven't seen but a handful tonight, maybe like 4, but it does come up. Either way, Elysium again makes She-Hulk a playable card next turn. Could also see Wave being... I say this every game. Wave, Death. It's not as strong of synergy as I wanted because I'm not seeing enough destroy action, I guess. But who's to blame on that? Alright. We pass turn. If it's alter, we can... Nope. Okay. So... I'm fine with this in theory. Then we can, like, Omega Iron Man for our next 2 turns. I think that's not too bad. So he's getting a copy of Death, which he's going to put in my hand when Mindscape comes out. So I have to keep that in mind. He cannot play that card. It's more like this. Hearing a pet snoring and I'm like freaking out. Hey, dude, can you not? Whatever. So that's gonna discount the death that each of us have in hand. This is where I didn't play that Iron Man Onslaught, and I'm regretting it a little bit. Not much to be done, though. Seems like that's play. Could draw Carnage next turn. Forces him to play middle, most likely, just to prevent the Omega Red stuff. Because I'm doing 12 damage right now, he's 1 damage away from activating his effect. So, most likely, my opponent plays Elysium a bit scared. If I can Carnage plus something, it's cool. I am handing him an Iron Man, though, which is so much better than handing him an Onslaught. I probably would take this back if I could, but too late now. Yeah, giving him an giving an Onslaught. What's he gonna do? Double Lizard's effect? Nah. So like, yeah, Iron Man is, you know, versatile. He can play wherever. 4 mana for double damage. Pretty good. And Omega Red gets moved into the hellscape that is the Mindscape. Okay. So we have Carnage a little late for that to come out, but we actually don't mind the leader here. So if he plays... If I just play this here, like... Is there any disadvantage to that other than the fact that he's, like, going to be throwing rocks around? I feel pretty good about this. So if Carnage has to be played first, right? We don't want him to eat anything that gets played. But that also means that... Yeah, I don't know. And the leader copy's last. So I think this is just a guaranteed. And we don't want to play the rock. Well, we could play the rock. We could just do this. Go rock, Carnage, leader. Easy. So he plays all left. And he gets Iron Man out of it. And I'm not going to get the Iron Man because I'm going to have 2 cards there. But otherwise it's fine. We still break the lizard and take the location, which is pretty cool.
Victory.
Yeah, the 6 damage difference. So if lizard did not get his reduction, then that would have been 20 damage. Instead it ends up being 14. Which is cool. Yeah, Elysium definitely showing its value there by just letting him play all three of those cards, but he kind of played into leader in a way that he didn't need to. I don't know if, I guess he did, you know, this was definitely stronger than what I had on board beforehand. If I didn't draw the Carnage, which, with all these, do I have rocks in my deck? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess I got lucky. I'll call it that. No Wakanda? Please, thank you. Alright, so in this context, we still want to go ahead and play the Carnage here. Gives us the mana and activate gets Bucky in position, which we are totally fine with. And then from there, this is the only situation where I would actually want to have this Moon Girl thing going on. Wave, Death, and She-Hulk on the opening hand. Electro's gone. He's probably Galactus deck from history, but either way he's going to be playing bigger stuff because he is now working with a lot more mana. He has 6 mana right now. That said, I really just don't feel like in this mode you need mana very much. For example, so how many cards have been destroyed? 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4. So Death should be free if I play Wave. She-Hulk, on the other hand, will be discounted by 1 by Elysium and 1 by mana. So she'll cost 2 mana. So I'll still only be able to play 2 cards, but they're 2 really good cards. Unless I want to save them for later, just in case. And we want to nullify the Electro thing as much as possible. He's going to have a lot going for him if he just gets to like fire off a bunch of 6 drops. So right now he's going into the next turn with 7 mana, which means he cannot play 2 cards, which is really nice. He does end up getting... I really want to know what he gets. Let's keep an eye on this, because I don't know if White Queen factors in discounts or not. Highest cost. In theory, that's Sabretooth, and if that's the case, that's hilarious. But we're going to be dropping some big ones. This turn, we're going to go ahead and play Death, Omega Red, and She-Hulk all on this lane. We could also wait 1 turn, play this here, and that will give us extra mana. I think that's actually a better play. She costs 2 this turn. If I do this, then I can do this, this, and this instead. And that's kind of nice, because She-Hulk will be cheap no matter what, I'd say. I don't anticipate me using all the mana I'm getting right now. So what did he get? What did White Queen give him? Is it double Sabretooth? Is it Gambit? Ooh. He discards Sabretooth. He destroys my man in the middle lane. And has another Sabretooth. So White Queen did copy based on cost reduction. This is good to know. So I don't want to play armor in middle, and it does allow me to play She-Hulk there, but maybe I could save it for like the last turn. But for the most part, I want to just win via Omega Red. And I have the mana for it. I could just take the discount now, though. That's cool. I didn't know it actually showed that. But yeah, I can just take the discount now, though. She-Hulk will be free, and then I can play whatever I want next turn. So I don't... Have I snapped yet? I definitely should be. He probably retreats on snap. But now we'll see. Does he get something like a Brood in middle? Even a Sinister can stick, but it's not going to do 4 damage. Most of the time, you're just going to see Dr. Doom here. Dr. Doom flying Doombots across will result in getting 5 damage to stick and Altar of Death. Now that, what's-his-face took it out. What is his face? Gambit. Always the cool guy. Alright, so he's playing some shenanigans here. Arnim Zola is gonna connect on Altar of Death, which is a little frightening. It makes us ask a lot of... Alright. You gotta hit him with that. I mean, come on. He did it in the wrong order, and it hurts. It hurts to watch. Alright, what are we playing? We are closest. Actually, these are all even. We could do the least expected thing, which is this. And then we only need to win one of these 2 lanes. He's just gone. Yeah. Even if he had the 9 drop, I actually still feel pretty confident there. Even if he still had the monster. He likes to mash. There's a big difference between mash and smash. Alright, I'm feeling like we're in a better spot in terms of like the mana flow. Obviously, we're gonna feel that way naturally coming out of Altar of Death game. But hopefully we get to see more of that. It's just how the deck works. It feels cleaner. Yeah, we'll go. Well, we actually like playing here. We don't necessarily get to connect Sunspot with armor, but if it is Altar, we kind of want. Yeah, we want to see Sunspot there. So we'll go ahead, do our ultimate stompy play of getting Professor X down on turn 3 and winning the game off of that. There's really no counterplay. If he gets +2 mana and he has 5, he can arrow if he has priority. But he's not really going to see it coming. He's just not. He's playing a Patriot deck. This guy's toast. So, yeah. And I have first play, so just guaranteed win in the middle lane. Now all I have to do is just play like Onslaught and Iron Man and stuff like that on right. So these are basically the same between the 2 of them. I'm going to go ahead and play Armor since it's a little safer. I don't really know what they destroy there, right? Like, obviously Gambit can destroy anything. But I'm not playing like high damage cards that can be Shang-Chi'd. So maybe a bit excessive. Or maybe I just discount? Let's see. That gives her a 2 cost. Unfortunately, might not be able to play her this turn, this game, but well, if we're gonna discount at any point, it's gonna be now, right? Yeah, because we don't know what we're drawing next turn. I think it's actually safe to play the discount play. If I get Iron Man Onslaught, I'm just chilling no matter what. This Patriot deck is not going anywhere. We're fine. We could also play into left lane, which we normally never can. I like that. I like that a lot. So what is he going to be playing? He can play Brood and buff them. Should you just play like a super discounted She-Hulk, like each turn? I guess you have to have a lot of, like if you Altar of Death and you had 6 mana, then you just play 0 cost She-Hulk each turn. That'd be pretty nice. Anyways, I was trying to do some math and I got distracted, but this feels good. The problem is you just can't follow up, and you should really just put all your eggs in one basket at this point. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Protected from Shang-Chi, and go from there. He's got a lot of blue marbling going on for what credit he can have. I don't really know if it matters, but it's there. And Death is not discounted sufficiently. Onslaught's not going to be as good as She-Hulk, so we're just going to go for the obvious play. Yep. No 2 ways about it. Get the damage in. Already +5. Onslaught is going to be pumping it up to 24. Nice comeback from this guy. Yeah, you know, I always look at this as a free win, and I'll be happy to eat my words with the cloning vats in play. Even if I played Armor She-Hulk over there, I'd be pretty hard pressed. Because in theory, he could just play these anywhere. He could play... I'm trying to remember what turn it was. Doesn't really matter, but I actually think he could have covered left side too if I started just pumping into there. So, yeah, not bad. I'll definitely take the L on that one. Onslaught Patriot. Usually you see just like Swarm Patriot, but I guess he's adapting to his needs. We'll definitely want to armor on left. Shang-Chi is all too common in Nidavellir situations. What do we do about that? Ignore it, I guess? Or we'll see. It's not that we're behind there, I'm just so worried about Sunspot dying, because I've had so many games in the past where he dies. And this guy's not playing Mojo either, so... kind of interesting. Okay, we could Professor X that in a little bit. I'm expecting, though, he might have the Destroy deck components. That would make that non-viable. We'll have to see. I like Iron Man on left, though. Filling out Nidavellir and Iron Manning last turn is pretty awesome. He gives us 3 cards. It's really hard not to do this, though, right? Like, we can play anything. I guess if we're committing the next 2 turns... oh, that's a tough call. What if we wave the last... There's no guarantees, right? Or we can just Omega Red over on left, and then that way we can kind of guarantee it with Iron Man, Omega Red. Yeah, I like that better. So I'll Omega Red this instead of Buckying at all. I'll go ahead and... hi, Shang-Chi, how are you doing? Guess this is the only chance he had to play it. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and Professor X here, and then Iron Man left. Unless he has Enchantress, we're fine. Like, yeah, it's only +4 damage, but I don't expect he's dropping 7 damage into Death's Domain right now. Like, that just isn't really in the cards. He brings Professor X in. What's the result? Nobody knows. Lizard is debuffed, and we take a big one. All right. That's cool. It has an interesting result. I think it's definitely worth it to play into Death Domain rather than trying to play catch up here. We're obviously going to spend our mana though. Just double checking. He only has 1 ongoing card, so Spectrum's not going to be able to really counteract this. I think he just retreated here, but I think it's actually... no, this does 1 more damage than Shang-Chi. So if he ends up like armoring and playing a bunch here, or storming and playing a bunch here, or Scarlet, whatever, then this is... okay, he did armor. What? Why you armor? This actually won him the game. It doesn't make any sense, but he's actually won him the game. Wow. Turn priority. And there's nothing I could have done. Any of my play options wouldn't have beaten that. Unless I had anticipated that... well, I was talking about just playing Sabretooth on right. And I probably should have just followed through on it. My backup plan was basically if he dumped everything on right, then I just put Sabretooth on Mojo World to have 1 more damage than Shang-Chi. He actually wins that one. That's very surprising to me. That one I'm not so sure about. The other one I'm like, yeah, I will play it. And this one I'm like, basically just... I mean, it's got to be some deliberate action though. Like he's basically looking at it like covering his loss conditions. Like he's like, okay, I have to play something on right because I can't play Tiebreaker. You can play the Tiebreaker though. It's like if you don't expect me to play anything on right side, then you can... it's actually smarter not to armor at all. And the reason I say that is because you can just spam Mojo. Have more cards in Mojo than I do. Unless I have a bunch of really cheap pieces, then you're going to win a Tiebreaker. If I'm playing on Death's Domain, then you don't want to... even if you don't know I'm really have any destroy components, I haven't shown any destroy components. I'm stressing about it too much, but I do feel like that was a misplay. I never would have played it that way. I guess it's the best way to put it. That's a unique thing. Sometimes like you think like the next level is gonna work, and sometimes the person is either 2 steps ahead or 1 step behind. You never can tell once the dust settles. It's kind of a very unique aspect of this game, for sure. Okay, so I got Leech from his deck. He does not have this card. What am I playing against? Is this like an Electro deck? Eh, I'll play it. Like, this by itself kind of feels good. I guess he could block. Like, I shouldn't be snapping before I see that there's no armor here. I have to let the Bucky actually die. Because the second that armor drops on his turn 3 on right lane, I am in a losing position. Luckily it goes through, but yeah, it just comes down to like a little bit of luck more than anything. Now we could just go ahead and wave next turn. She-Hulk discount means we get to do whatever we want. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens. No, it doesn't actually. So She-Hulk discount usually means wave on turn 5, discount She-Hulk by 2, then we get to play 2 cards. A 2-cost card and a 4-cost card. Because of Dream Dimension, one of those cards is going to be a little too expensive. It carries over to the next turn. Leech is also off the table. So what we can do is look for like an Iron Man draw, I would say. Okay, so if we draw Iron Man, we'll want to have not played anything. If we draw Death, then we'll want to have waved. Right? Maybe? I think so. Yeah, for sure. But you never know. You don't know what's coming up. So based on the cards I have in hand, I'm just going to play around that. And I'll just go ahead and hit pass turn and look for my options next time around. And we get more information on the board. So we did get Death. We wish we had waved because that would have put her cost at, what, 3? And her cost at 3 as well, which would have been perfect. But we didn't know that. We played with what we had. Now we have this. What do we do with it? Well, I'd say we She-Hulk the closest lane position. And if he wants to try to shut down Omega Red's benefits, then that's fine. We can still play at least 3 damage here. I feel good about that. He played Cosmo. He's not playing anything super big. The biggest thing he can do is like, well, he can She-Hulk if he stole it, which I don't think he did. I think it was discounted. But he seems confident. This is a tough one. But yeah, the biggest thing he can do is Magneto over to the left, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. He drops Leader, which means he just auto wins, right? Yeah, I didn't board Swarm hard enough for that location cap to be worthwhile, so yep. I guess I kind of should just infer like a snap on 6 here is going to be a Leader play. But I don't know. Leader's one of those cards where like you can fit him into any deck. You can always play him on turn 6 if you have an advantage. Or even if you're only disadvantaged by like 3. And what are you going to do about it? Like, Black Cat discard deck. Okay. Means that the hand he gives me from Mindscape will kind of suck. Is the only read I've got on this so far. Do I want to Sabretooth into Carnage and reduce the cost of Death potentially? Is that denying me the ability to play Omega Red, which I'm not going to be able to Onslaught? I don't know what's happened in this game. Let's go ahead and just drop a 2 damage Carnage. Gnaw on his fingers. We'll see what happens in the next round. Savage Land. Would be great to have a Carnage right now. What happened to that? A little awkward, but you know, we'll play it through. I mean, who knows? It's gonna be like what, Central Park or Savage Land or some nonsense there. She-Hulk. She-Hulk sounds like a good option to consider here. Which means that we need to not spend all our mana. In fact, we need to save at least 1 mana? Yeah, 1 mana. So we can play wave. Slow him down a bit in case he's playing anything. He is able to play any card at Crimson Cosmos as a result. What's he got for us? Jubilee in the Jubilee. Sunspot's one of the worst draws you can get out of that. I appreciate it. That being said, I can't play my own because I've waived. And we're just gonna have to roll with that. I think this is an okay spot to just ignore middle, play left and right, and see what he tosses us. So we just have to remember his maximum damage he's gonna get is 7. And he's not like Odining this turn, so yeah, we'll see what happens. I feel like what we're giving him isn't gonna be as good as what he gives us. He hasn't played anything. Get out of here. 1 free dice. I don't know why. It feels like we're either stomping or clawing tooth and nail. We've had a few good games in between, probably like 3, but a lot of it feels like really one-sided. And maybe that's just kind of down to the deck that I've drafted for myself. Because I think it's just like my tools connect or they don't. Like I'm running too many different ideas, and that's not necessarily like too many. Obviously, is inherently negative. But what I mean by that is less so that an infeasible number of ideas, and more so just I have to recognize that it is going to be hit or miss because that's literally how the deck is designed. It can hit really hard with a couple of cards playing together very nicely, or we can just kind of be chilling and playing Carnage for 2 damage. Altar's up, mana's up, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna call this a good one for me, considering all I need is an onslaught to complete the puzzle. Also, I just realized every card is gonna die. Like, he can't play anything guaranteed here. Because right now his best bet is to play 2 really strong 4-drops. But what happens when I do this? Do I just lose to... at least the tiebreaker, most likely. Yeah, we basically need to win this here. Or play Bucky. I mean, you can always play like Bucky Sabretooth at no risk. That's kind of cool. But I think we actually want to play Omega and Sabretooth? And Bucky over here. Yeah, I think this works pretty well. It's +9. He can definitely get +9 though. I don't know about this. I think we just undo and recover. It does mean we're not getting anything on left, but I don't think he is either, and we're gonna get the Omega stuff in play. So, oh, I want to play Wave on the right. Ah. What's he gonna Jubilee? Cow, Ghost Rider. Oh, so he's gonna, if he gets Hela, he can straight up cover these 2 locations. We do end up losing, which is fine because both these cards want to die in their own right. It does mean, however, we don't get to do anything at Altar of Death. He did lose Ghost, what's his name? Ghost Rider, but yeah. I really can't afford... I really want a Professor X over there and stop him from playing anything. And then I realize I really do want to do that. So what we're going to do is just do this. And then win the game. Because he no longer can play Hela, even on Altar of Death, which is awesome. Goodbye.
Victory.
Yeah, works for me. Yeah, I agonized over that one a little bit, but it ends up working out. And it turns out waving would have been worse because it makes the Professor play a lot more scary. even if it only goes to tiebreaker. Who we get? Another Bucky Barnes, a Misty Knight. Alright, we'll see how it plays out. This doesn't look great off the bat, but what game does? Nowhere, okay. So you can't Mystique there, but you can still do the ongoing cards and all the vanilla cards. Hour and 35, the longest episode yet. Hopefully it hasn't dragged on too much. Alright. I think we'll just play on left. Unless we really want to emphasize I cannot possibly. I really just can't. If we play here and Professor X next turn, that's also a pretty confident play. Except Professor X comes out on turn 5, which is a million years from now. Let's just play left. She-Hulk does not work into this plan at all, I would say. We've gone past the destroy deck mentality. I mean, we could play here. It's not bad. Basically, it just comes down to which one do we want to Professor X, left or middle. Middle will have more damage. Left, we have the potential to, like, Bucky or Carnage it, but Carnage is a 1 in 5 in the next 2 turns, and I don't really expect to have much time for him, so we'll snap it out. We'll play Professor X, we'll Onslaught, and we'll feel pretty good about ourselves. Alright, glad that it didn't connect here. Now, I did have the option as well of just passing and playing She-Hulk, but I really don't know where that will lead me. So, if I play Onslaught here, if I do anything but pass, I'm screwed, and if I pass, I'm screwed. Yeah, this looks like a loss. We're in not the best spot. The blue Marvel in mid shuts us down a bit. I think he's worried about Enchantress, so he's putting all his ongoing cards in middle, which naturally just hurts. He just gets more value out of the rock that he threw, and yep. Trying to run it back, and again, I think it just comes down to this deck feeling a little clunky. You don't get this if you're don't have Alter and you don't have Carnage. 3 of your cards feel useless. So, and that's a quarter of your deck. Like, these decks are small. Is there anything that I could do to make that feel not awful while still taking advantage of the Alter? I feel like I need Sabretooth. I feel like I need Bucky. Because they're so strong on Alter. We've seen it a lot. In that, but I feel like what I'm seeing here is this this feature location seems to be appearing slightly less. There was a patch note thing. I don't know if they show it here somewhere. Where they indicated that one of the locations would be showing up less. I was under the impression, for no reason in particular, that all locations show up at the exact same time. So, or sorry, to the exact like equal amounts. It was like pure random, and there was not one location that was particularly more common, with the exception being the featured locations. And if you can say that for like whatever balance purposes they nerfed the frequency of one of the locations, then I gotta say that it seems like some locations are not showing up as often. And I would say maybe potentially, while this featured location like increases the spawn rate of this location significantly, it might just be like an uncommon spawn by default, like the Death's Domain one, for example. Maybe we're just getting unlucky. I mean, you flip a coin 100 times, you might only see heads. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not leaning like fully into the destroy package with regards to like the Alter. But again, you just can't get over that clunky feeling as a result of it. If I just had like one more activator, maybe it would smooth out, but then that activator would be pretty useless on the other 2 lanes, assuming you have a free kill myself per turn type of mechanic. It's just weird. Give me a card I can use, not an onslaught. Yeah, that's Sabretooth. So, I could play that here. I could play that here. I could play it anywhere. I could... Because of Tinker's Workshop, I could just pass for She-Hulk. And if it's Alter, I'll play Sabretooth there, and if it's not, I'll play She-Hulk anywhere. Let's see what happens. Daredevil, looking a little weird. We're gonna see the Alter. Now, I said I was just gonna auto Sabretooth, and I still think that's the right play, but I'm double checking. Yeah, if I can wave last turn and play She-Hulk Death then, I think that'll make me very happy. I'm gonna Sabretooth, I'm gonna Bucky. I'm just gonna keep this train rolling. The alternative is I Bucky Professor X, but maybe the lockdown thing isn't working for me. Yeah, he gets a bonus energy, that's cool and all, but I get it every turn. So it doesn't really hurt. To see that. And then we can just pass the mana over to next turn. So next turn I'll have, what, like 7 mana, and she'll cost 2. And that'll be a She-Hulk Iron Man turn, which is pretty awesome. And pass the savings on to you. Could be a She-Hulk Professor X. Alright, we're here. We're doing this. So how many cards were destroyed? 1, 2, 3? And then I've destroyed a few before that. So she's costing 2, she's costing 2. Would be beautiful if we can make this work. Oh my gosh. I was like looking at Iron Man options, but this is just... Professor X is way better here. Even Null, I'm not sure if it wins. I think it might, but I'm not sure. And I'm happy to take this. 4 cubes instead of pushing it to 8. Yeah, Iron Man Onslaught shouldn't be beaten. And maybe I should just let it go at that. But not playing She-Hulk and Death feels like a mistake here. And neither one of them is 0 cost. So yeah, we'll go with this. Hey Death, how's it going? Feels good. Mr. Galactus just had 29 damage dropped on 1 lane on him thanks to the yeah, the wrap up there from the altar. Putting 2 cards on the altar, getting +4 mana, getting a 4 mana discount, getting death down to like 1 or 2 costs. All works out perfectly for a nice little counterplay. Kind of satisfying one at that. Alright, let's just do like last 2, or maybe I'll call Go Till I Lose, and then we'll wrap it up. This is definitely... I knew it was going to be a longer one, but this one has gone on for a little while here. Sinister London, a natural sunspot habitat, spreading that across. He's going to be going for a little bit of energy from the Time Stone. This means that he's already got 4 energy to work with. He can easily go ahead and play the blue stone now, Space Stone, I guess. And with that, he can move it wherever he wants. A little scary. I think there's a lot of potential with what he's doing. Do I play armor? Don't see why not. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't go to the right, but we'll see what happens. Either it's kind of win-win. Either both my sunspots are protected, or I can actually use Barnes and Sabretooth on potentially the altar. clipping on the side here. So like you see this, like you get the full animation, and here are the particle effects, so you can tilt them off the screen. Alright, Yondu. Times 2. Ah, I really wish I was paying attention to what I just lost. Roll the tape back. What are we looking at here? Alright, do I get another armor for this or no? I think so. Yeah, should work. Alright, so I don't get a copy of the armor, but I get one in hand, and that means I get to play here. I feel pretty cool about that. Yeah, let's go. Let's run it. He's got his Bucky in middle. We have a lot of triggers on death because of Yondu's. So overall, and we have an armor on left, so he cannot destroy these cards. He gets the Carnage. He gets to basically win middle. Oh, he gets to move them up to the right side. That's cute. I like that. I can still go ahead and just armor and play whatever I want over there. That's very cool. So what we can do now, we're on turn 4. We can still do the Iron Man Onslaught on left, and that's pretty awesome. We also have the option. I was gonna armor here, but I actually think I'd rather just play the Iron Man on cloning, and then be able to play an Iron Man next turn as well, which is pretty awesome. I like to double check my snaps sometimes, make sure I played the card I wanted. So Sunspot's down. He's trying to kill off a lot of thieves and clattering. Most likely has death as well somewhere in his deck. It's possible I discarded mine. I only have 3 cards left in my deck thanks to Yondu.
Iron Man.
But yeah. So he didn't move anything with the Space Stone. I'm really surprised at that. Really surprised at that. This is not turn 6 yet. Let's see, he played a card here, so he has plenty of mana to work with. I think Onslaught on left is definitely the play, but I'm also curious if we can get like... I think it would be like Bucky, Professor X, Sabretooth on right, and then Onslaught on left, and call it good. Still good. Feels very good. Oh no, the wave. What am I gonna do? Yeah, I don't really know what he's trying to accomplish here. I only hope he sticks around for one more turn. Yeah, I guess I could theoretically play 2 cards if I'd sacrifice Sabretooth, but... Well, I get to play 2 cards anyways. We're still onslaughting. And... I think it's better just to give Sunspot the energy. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't want to do that. So...
Opponent snapped.
he feels good. Dude, this guy... I don't really think he knows what he's doing. I'm just gonna pass. I'm going to win. Okay. So he gets that. Okay. He actually takes it. Does not take it. The opposite of what I just said. Thanks, Sunspot.
Victory.
You're great. Calculated. I believe in you. I am confident in you. I don't know if that emote comes across. I like the combo of Spider-Man and telling them a nice positive thing, just because there's literally nothing you can say positive to somebody. It's not a well played or anything, just a fist bump, but I'm trying to make it work anyways. Yeah, no, there's nothing better than just basically not spending too much mana where you win left lane anyways, even though I wasn't really counting as much as I should have. I'll take the 8 cubes though, and keep the go till we lose rolling. 1 hour later.
Opponent snapped.
Can you chill, dude? Four in hand. Yeah, standard stuff. Yondu takes out the Professor. Yeah, I think we're just Sabretooth spamming on left. Can't close it off anymore, but doesn't mean we can't just absolutely annihilate a different lane. I'm guessing we're stacking in Dark Dimension. Just because it means he doesn't know what I'm throwing at him. Might get revealed through Los Diablos, but I'm feeling pretty good. I can't play on left is the only thing. I need to armor that, most likely, to get like She-Hulk Death out with a wave. Like wave armor, I guess wouldn't discount She-Hulk at all, but it would let me play She-Hulk Death anyways because of the... Never mind. We're actually seeing armor come out on left regardless. Alright, is that the new location to play? And then we hit the mute button. It doesn't work. Hello? Give him a thumbs up. There we go. Alright, so we can go ahead and just hope for an Iron Man draw. It's not that far-fetched at all. I got 2 more draws. I need it next turn, though, is the only trick, which kind of sucks. But we can wave She-Hulk Death and feel okay about that. Even then, though, it's only going to be... Oh, there's the Iron Man. There he is. So that's going to be 8 damage to each lane. Is that going to be enough? Play left, buddy. Okay, so he is actually going to be hurting me a lot with that Hobgoblin. We are at 2 damage, guys. 2 damage. Alright, the go till we lose might have hit the stopping point here. I do believe this one we can consider unwinnable. Oh, okay. GG. 1 hour and 51 minute run. Check a couple of my videos to see where I was at, but I think it was like 83.7, so I don't think we actually got nearly the amount of progress I was hoping for, but, you know, it's nice to see a dynamic location that you can actually play around. And I think I will try to adapt this deck a bit and play it a little bit more tomorrow. I'm going to rest it up a bit, and I think there's something here for sure. I just might need to lean a little bit more into the destroy stuff, a little bit less in destroy stuff, somewhere in between, I don't know. I like countering the destroy decks, so I do want to keep like the Armor Professor X stuff going. I think counter meta is probably even more potent than meta. But then the question becomes, yeah, where does the rest of, like, is taking out Death the right play? Is taking out She-Hulk the right play? Maybe. Yeah, we'll play around with it and see what happens. But so far so good. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.